Hi, my name is Dr. John Douillard, and as you know here at LIfeSpa, I try to take principles of ancient wisdom, typically from Ayurvedic medicine, and prove them with modern science. And if you've been following me lately, I've been talking a lot about the newly discovered lymphatics of the brain that drain 3 pounds of toxic plaque and chemicals out of your brain every single year and your central nervous system. I've also talked about how in Ayurvedic medicine they talked about these lymphatics in the brain, and they thought that congestion of those lymphatics would be linked to anxiety, depression, mood-related concerns. And now the science supports that, in fact, that congestion of those lymphatics of the brain directly are linked to anxiety, depression, cognitive decline, inflammation, infection, and even autoimmune conditions. I did an article about how to increase the cerebrospinal fluid, which moves into the brain, literally washes the brain, and the cerebrospinal fluid, which is basically brain lymph, is taken up by these brain lymphatics and then taken out of the body. I talked about how there's a sagittal sinus, like a mohawk haircut, where they predicted these lymphatics to be thousands of years ago. And now they know that the cerebrospinal fluid actually pushes into these limbs and drains through the sagittal sinus like a mohawk haircut. We know that these lymphatics drain through the sinus lymphatics, and how Ayurveda understood that by sort of using nasal inhalation of medicated oils, they could actually clean these lymphatics out. A very powerful therapy, particularly for things like ringing in the ears and cognitive decline and old emotional holding. And I've written an article and a video on that called Nausea, Sinus Cleansing and Emotional Baggage. So please check that out. But that's not what I want to talk to you about today. Today I want to talk about 13 emissary veins that literally are veins that actually go through your skull and drain your brain in the same way that your lymphatics drain your brain of these entire environmental toxins, chemicals, and plaque out of your brain. These 13 emissary veins really are little holes drilled through the skull, and if you go to the article that shows you this video, you'll see some pictures of the skull where these actual holes are, and how important it is therefore to care for your head, literally head massage. I want to talk to you about and the value of that and how important it is. These 13 emissary veins most of them line across the sagittal sinus, exactly where these lymphatics are. In Ayurveda, there's also what are called Marma points. Marma points are vital points, and there's a handful of them on your head. And most of them lie right along the sagittal sinuses, the sutures of the brain, and around the ear. And the emissary veins are located here and across here. So those are really important areas to massage, because if you massage your head vigorously, you can actually stimulate circulation of nutrition being dumped into the brain chemistry and waste coming out. They did a study, this is amazing. They found if you massage your head, it literally increases the blood supply on the inside of your skull. They also did a study where they gave people methadone, an opioid, and they gave them that as an oral therapy, and then they actually mixed it with an Ayurvedic massage oil and put it onto the head and massage it into the head. And the delivery of the methadone through the scalp was almost just about matched the effectiveness of delivering as an oral pill, suggesting that what you put on your head can directly, through either effusing through the scalp itself or through these emissary veins, these little veins that are little holes like plugs in our skull, can actually take toxins and chemicals into our brain chemistry. So therefore it makes you think, oh my goodness, what kind of shampoo am I using? What kind of hair dye am I using? What am I putting on my head, and how important that is, how critically important it is, because there's science to show that what you put on, you gotta watch these, you gotta look at the article and look at the pictures of these little holes in people's skulls. It's just sort of amazing, actually. So be very, very careful. There's actually one Marma called Adipati, which is right back here. And if you ever go to China or in India, you see people with bald heads with little ponytails coming out there. And I've got a picture of that too. That is exactly where these parietal emissary veins are, right back here. And they considered it a very, very sacred part where the soul would enter and leave the body, and where consciousness and spiritual powers would enter the body. Very, very important very, very powerful. And at the very least, to make sure that these emissary veins around your ears and along the sagittal sinus are functional for you, where your scalp hasn't gotten stuck to your head and the veins and the drainage of that are somewhat compromised. We drain 3 pounds of toxic plaque and chemicals out of our brain every single year. We live in an environment of toxicity of 400 billion pounds of toxins dumped in the American environment every single year. Many of them end up in our brain tissue. We have to protect our brain. One of the simple ways to do this, while you're in the shower, take some Ayurvedic massage oil and rub that vigorously into your head. Really vigorously. Get that scalp, when you shave your head, it works great. Get that scalp to loosen up around the skull so it's nice and loose and juicy. Make it itch, make it red, make it feel good. And after a couple of days of doing it, you'll feel your scalp is more supple, more elastic. You get blood flow. You don't get dandruff. Dandruff is because that skin has no circulation. And we have to support that circulation because now we have science to show that it actually has significant clinical value. So please, you got to check out some of the pictures. I show you a picture of where all the emissary veins are, so you can make sure you focus in and massage them. And I show you some pretty cool pictures of the ones that are on the skull that are just really striking. So please check out the article. This is video. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. John Douillard. Hi, did you like this video? Do you like our content here at LIfeSpa? You can subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/John Douillard right here and get this valuable content every week in your inbox.
This recording is brought to you by LIfeSpa, where ancient Ayurvedic wisdom meets modern science. Get access to free health video newsletters by Dr. John at LIfeSpa.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.